Okay, so I wanted to do another video, and I'm gonna just tell you, it is freezing. It is cold. Um, Beginning of December, and we're hitting temperatures into the teens. This is not good news. I have a feeling that it's going to be a pretty bad winter. Um, Last year, the year before that, and the year before that, it was a pretty mild winter. Especially last year was a very good winter. It wasn't bad at all. It was mild here. And this year, the temperatures are getting very cold at night. We're going down to 20, 19 degrees, wind chill factors 12, 14 degrees, the wind chill. That's very cold for the beginning of December. Like, you don't expect to see this until mid-January. But we are seeing very cold temperatures. And this makes me feel like we're going to have a bad winter because as long as the temperatures stay in the 40s, like next week I did see 40s, which is good. As long as the temperatures stay above 32, which means like 39, and it ain't just 32. Look, if it's 33 or 34, it's going to snow. All right. It needs to be about 40 degrees, and then you'll see rain. But when I'm seeing temperatures 33, 35, that's going to be snow. That's going to be snow. Um, I have a feeling it's going to be a snowy winter. I really do. Because the temperatures are staying in the low 30s, mid 30s, low 30s. We need temperatures to be in the mid 40s for it to just be rain, but it's not. Like next week, I did see a few days where it's going to be 42 and 40 degrees, which is great. But for it to be it's only the very beginning of December, and we're seeing these temperatures. So what's it going to be like in January? So that's not good. I have a feeling it's going to be a bad winter, a snowy winter. Yeah, I do. Um, Temperatures at night are getting down to 22, wind chill 18, 17 degrees. That's going to be all snow if we have precipitation in the atmosphere. So we're going to probably have a snowy winter. Last year was a great winter here. It stayed pretty mild all the way up until like end of January, mid-January. Yeah, we had some cold days in January last year, but it didn't stay cold. We had a few temperatures where it was in the single digits and maybe to teens, but then it got up to the 40s again. And it stayed mild last winter was a mild winter. I got a different feeling about this winter. I have a feeling it's going to be a bad winter, a cold winter. And when it's cold, that means snow. Okay? That means snow, which I don't like. I don't like snow at all. I don't like ice. I don't like snow. I don't mind rain. I love rain. I actually do love rain. I love rainy days. I love rain. In the summer I love rain, but in the winter not so much. It's not great, but I'd rather have rain than snow. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about the weather. I'm here to talk about narcissists. And in this video, I kind of want to do another story time and talk about the devalue stage and my own personal devalue stage, what I went through when I realized my ex was cheating, lying, deceiving, I don't know what you want to call it, devaluing me. I'm going to talk about that and my own experience. I may have talked about it a little bit, but I never really went into it that much. And I feel like maybe others could take something from my video and apply it to their own lives. And maybe that could make them, maybe, maybe they could hear my story and maybe figure out stuff with their own story. I know I've listened to people talk about narcissists and stuff like that, and it has helped me a lot with answers about my own. So sometimes hearing someone else talk about theirs helps you with your own story. It gives you more knowledge. So, like I said, I'll just get into it. I was having a pretty normal relationship with my ex narcissist for about 4.5 years. Everything was pretty normal. Um, we were pretty happy. We really didn't have that many problems, for the most part. Things were okay. You know, we had our own little routine that we did and the things we used to do, and it was all right. Um, my ex, started a friendship with somebody from his job, a guy from work. This is where I noticed a big change in my ex. He started hanging out with a guy from his job. And this guy was never in our lives before. And this may have been one of the biggest downfalls of our relationship was when he met this guy. Because I don't before he met this guy, my relationship with my ex was pretty normal, as I said before. I mean, he had his friends, which I knew all his friends. They were all really cool, nice guys, all excellent, really nice people. I never had anything to say about his friends. He had really good friends. Some of the nicest people I've ever met, actually. Really nice guys. Um, but this particular friend that he started hanging out with, probably about 4.5 years into our relationship, I never met him. He never came to the house. I never met him. Knew very little about this guy, but he became very good friends with this guy. And he started hanging out with him on weekends. Um, I never knew what they used to do together. My ex narcissist would basically hang out with him on like a Saturday or a Sunday. Usually it was a Sunday. He would go very early in the morning. He would get up and he would go see his friend. And I thought that was kind of weird, right? I'm like, what are you doing so early in the morning, right? Like, he would get up literally at 9 o'clock in the morning and be out of the house by 10 o'clock. And my ex narcissist would usually, I mean, he was nice to me. Like, he would make me breakfast and stuff because he was a really good cook, like I said. He would like make me something to eat and then he would leave. And I thought, okay, well, he's making me something to eat. Sometimes he would leave me maybe some money to go to the store, and it was okay. I'm like, okay, well, cool, go have a good time. I thought that's what he was doing when he told me he was going to see his guy friend. He used to come home sometime in the afternoon, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But that became a problem because football was a big. I love football, and I love watching football, and I used to love doing this with my ex narcissist. It was something that we always did, and he would get home sometimes 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The game is already on. I'm already watching the game alone, and I would get mad. I'm like, no, the game's on, and you're coming into the second half of the game or something, the second quarter of the game, whatever. And I don't like that. I wanted him to be home to watch the game with me, and he wasn't. But I wasn't important anymore. Once he met this guy, things really started to decline. And the thing is, I never really knew where my ex was going when he used to tell me he was off to go see his friend from work. Was he really going to see his friend from work? He would leave around 9 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes 9:30. He would make me breakfast and then he would leave. And he would be gone until 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He would text me, and this is the thing that, because one of my friends at the time used to tell me, he used to say, "Are you sure that's where he's going? You sure he's going to see a friend?" I'm like, "A guy?" I'm like, "That's what he tells me." I never questioned my ex. I never gave him a hard time about anything. When he told me he was doing something, I believed him. Like, when he said he was going to see his friend, I thought he was going to see his friend. I never questioned anything. Um, I never paid attention to where he went. I never paid attention if he was going right or left when he left the house. Like, someone said, like, is he going towards where he was going? I'm like, I don't know. To be honest, I have no idea what he did. I thought it was odd, but I never really questioned him. My ex would text me when he went out. As often he would. Yeah, he would sometimes even call me. So I thought, well, he's just going to see his friend. And maybe that's what he was doing. I really don't know what he did. But I do, and I can recall when he met this guy, this particular guy, our relationship started to suffer pretty bad. That was kind of the cutoff to me and him having a good relationship. It was when he met this person, this guy, which is very ironic. This is ironic for me, but I'm not going to go into that. It's a whole other thing. So when he met this guy, he started hanging out with this guy. He would see him also during the week. He would, like, after work, they go out for happy hour and stuff like that together. I never went. I At one point I did say, I'm going to go with you on Saturday to this place where you. He goes, okay, you can come with me. And he made it seem like it was no big deal. But I never did because I'm not going to do that. So I let him be with his friend by himself. But it was just, it always kind of was weird to me. The fact that he was so dedicated to it. It was like every single weekend he would go see his friend. It was an every week thing. And I, being the little sweet girl that I was, I just said, okay, I'll find something else to do. And I did. I always had something to do. And like I said, I like being apart. Like, I'm not the kind of person that has to be connected to the hip. I let my ex, and when I was with my ex, I let him be with his friends by himself because I like to be with my friends by myself too. So I never really made a big deal of it. Looking back now, and looking back after we broke up, it was like booming in my face. Like, where was he really going? Was he really going to see a friend, or was there other people there that were there as well that I didn't know about? I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I had a really good guy friend at the time, and he would tell me, like, "Are you sure that's where he's going?" A lot of my friends at the time were questioning it, and I didn't. I just said, "That's where he's going. That's where he's going." I never really. I guess I was too trusting, right? But anyway, that's what it was like during my devalue, and um, it wasn't every weekend, but like I said, it was probably 3 weekends out of the month he was going off. Whether it be a Saturday or a Sunday, he was gone. He was with his friend. Um, he didn't spend the entire day. No, he would get home around 2 o'clock. He would leave around 9:30 and be home by 1:30, 2 o'clock sometimes later than that. But never into the night, never, no. But like I said, I don't know who was there with him. That's the thing that was kind of weird. Um, During this time, things definitely declined between our me and him. I I told you that he started his friends and family wouldn't come over anymore. I wasn't spending any time with his friends and family anymore. We were no longer spending holidays together anymore, or really um, celebrating holidays together anymore. This was probably 2014. We always, holidays are very important to both of us. We always put up a tree. We always got a brand new real tree every year. We always decorated. um, we'd always, he'd always have friends over all the time, little Christmas gatherings and things like that. Um, he still had the gatherings. I still went to the gatherings, but we didn't put the tree up anymore. The I think that's when we stopped putting the tree up. We stopped actually getting a tree. Getting a tree was always a festive thing that I loved, going to get the tree and putting it up, and it was like an all day thing, and his family member would come and we would all have a good time together. That kind of stopped too. Everything kind of stopped. um yeah, I mean, it was like, you have to say to yourself, like, you're having a normal relationship with someone and then all of a sudden it such a obvious decline, right? It's like, what the hell happened, right? I just put up with it, right? I just stayed. um Yeah. Then I started to notice, and this is weird. Like I said, like, you may not, for me, I'm a very observant person, very observant. So when I would like go onto our TV, I would start seeing like TV shows and movies, more movies that like we would never watch. Okay, like movies that he would never watch. And I'm like, I asked him, I confronted him, and I'm like, what are these movies on here? Like, you don't watch these types of movies. I'm talking about movies with like Candace Cameron. Everybody knows who that is. It's like, really, like movies that like I wouldn't watch. He definitely wouldn't watch, but like weird stuff. Um, and he said, I watched that. And I'm like, there's no way in hell you watched that. He's like, I did. I definitely did. And I'm like, what the hell? Why would you be watching like a family movie, like weird stuff? And I'm like, did someone tell you to watch that? Or are you just watching that by, I don't know. I don't know. But I started finding weird movies on the TV that he was like watching on like the Netflix and shit. It was weird. Then I noticed that he started to buy different clothes. Like his clothes were different. My ex was a jeans, t-shirt, work boots type guy. Very you know, blue collarish type guy. Never wore dress shirts, never dressed up. On holidays he'd wear a nice shirt and pants, but and nice shoes on holidays. But to work he always wore, jeans with holes in it, t-shirts and stuff. Like I went into the closet and I started to see brand new dress shirts, like shirts that were the button kind, um, and pants that were kind of like trouser pants. You know what I mean? Like not jeans, like, and some were brand new jeans and some were like slack type things, and then some were just like regular, button down shirts. And I asked him, I'm like, "Did you just go shopping?" He goes, "Yeah, I went to the store. I needed some new clothes." And I'm just like, "Yeah, but you don't even wear clothes like this." And he's like, "Yeah, I do, and I'm wearing these, and I needed some new shirts." I'm like, "Well, you don't wear shirts like this. You wear t-shirts. You don't even wear button-down shirts ever." I don't even think on holidays he wore button-down shirts. I don't remember him ever wearing a button-down shirt with me ever. And he said that no, he needed clothes and that's what he bought. And I actually went into the closet. I would pick up the shirt and I would see if it was worn. And I could tell if it was worn because I would like put it up to my nose and I would see if I could smell like deodorant and stuff. And you know if a shirt was worn, you can tell if it was like wrinkled and stuff like that. And I could tell that he definitely wore one or two of these shirts. And I said, "Where are you wearing these clothes to? Like, you go to work every week." Now, like, I was not living with him at this time. So I was starting to see this. And I went up to him and I said, "Where are you wearing these clothes?" He goes, "Well, I wore that one to Mother's Day. I wore that one to Father's Day, or this one I wore." And I said, "But you don't wear clothes like this to Father's Day or Mother's Day. You just wear regular pullover shirts, you know." I became very, very suspicious at this time because I started noticing all these changes and things I couldn't explain, because he doesn't wear clothes like that. And he had the entire week to go on dates because I wasn't living with him at this time. He had the entire week to do whatever he was doing. And some weekends I wasn't there either because once my ex started hanging out with that guy, I wasn't always over there. Like when he told me he was going to go see his friend, I just would stay home because a lot of times going over there, it wasn't fun for me just to hang around the house alone. So I just didn't go over there. I stayed at my own house. I went and did my own thing for that day. So I started seeing him much less during this time. But it was really that's what majorly made the relationship really, you know, die was the fact that he met this guy. And once he met that guy, everything kind of changed in our relationship as well. Everything changed. Me and my ex used to do literally like everything together. We used to plant flowers together. We used to garden together. We used to do everything literally together. Pick out things for the house together. He always wanted my input whenever he was doing something in the house, a project. I always helped him with it. We used to do a lot of things together, and no longer were we doing anything together. He was doing everything by himself. He didn't ask me to help him. He didn't. He just decided to do everything alone. I remember. I remember very much. We were going to buy a new sofa, and I said, "Oh, well, let's go look." He's like, "Yeah," he's just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go buy a new sofa this weekend." I'm like, "Let's go. Let's go look around." There was a bunch of different furniture stores. I love doing stuff like that. And he said, "No, I'm bringing my mother with me." And I said, "You're bringing your mother with you?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm bringing my mother. I want my mother to come with me to pick out the couch." I go, "Well, that's something that we would do together. Like, why wouldn't you want my input on a couch?" And he's like, "I don't want your input. I'm going to buy my own couch. I'm buying it. I'm buying the couch that I want to buy. And I'm taking my mother with me." That was a huge, 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 like, red flag that he would take his mom, because why would you take your mom to pick out a couch, right? Like, why wouldn't you take me, since I'm the one that's going to be sitting on the couch most of the time, right? So that was a huge flag for me as well. There were so many. These are just the main ones that I remember. We're going back 2014. We're going back literally 10 years ago. So, this is what I remember. So, like, all these things started happening. Like I said, in order, he met the friend. After he met that friend, our relationship started to decline. My suspicions of this was that his friend knew people, maybe, that he was hanging out with people maybe I didn't know. Maybe there was women that he was hanging out with as well at this time. I didn't know about these people. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I had a very good friend at that time, that would talk to me about this stuff too, and used to tell me you should be definitely on your guard. This isn't right. And me being the trusting sweetheart that I am, I just kept on going along with stuff. Um, but yeah, the fact that he didn't take me to buy the couch was a huge flag. And this is when things really started to really get bad. And the devalue was really in full swing at this point. Yeah. Not including me. I remember he was getting his house landscaped. He was getting his backyard redone. He was getting a brand new revamp of his yard, and trees planted and bushes put around, and he would always, always, always want my input. He would have, if something wasn't wrong, he would have definitely wanted me to be there, to be included. He would have wanted the kind of trees that I liked, or he didn't even ask me. He just did everything alone. And I knew this was all part of the devalue stage now. At the time, I did not know this was called a devalue. I just thought this was weird. I just thought this was something else. But I didn't have a name for it. And now that I know, it's called, he was devaluing. Um, I started spending less and less time over there. Less and less time. Um, I realized that whatever it was that I was still doing with him, it wasn't built on love and respect and in a relationship anymore. It had become just basically physical. Um, so during this time, I worked on myself, and I started, like, work. I was working a lot. Um, I was working at a part-time job at that time, I remember, and I hated that job. I hated it so much, and I didn't like it. I remember I asked him, uh, he had just, I guess it was like income tax time. When you get like your money back. When you get you got your money back from the year. And he got his income tax back. And I was having a hard time. I needed money for my car insurance. I said, now I've been with this guy at this point for about 7 years. And I was having a hard time with paying my car insurance. And I said, you think I can borrow maybe $100 because I need to pay my car insurance. I'm a little short this month. And he had just got a pretty big sum, okay, of money back. And I said, I would really appreciate it if you can lend me $100. I'll give it back to you when I get it. But I really don't like this job, and I don't want to stay there, and I want to, look for something else. Can you help me? I really need. And he goes, why don't you pay it? And I said, well, I would pay it, but I don't have enough. And I even called up my bank to prove how much money I had in my bank, in my checking account. I even proved it. I was like, here. I called, the number where you can call and get your uh, your bank, whatever, your balance. He knew how much I had in it. He told me no. He said, no, I'm not giving you the money. And that was it. He didn't talk to me about it. He left. He got in his car and left. And I was like, wow, okay. That was another big one. That was another big one that he didn't give me the money for my car insurance that month. And I never asked him for money. I never asked him for anything. Nothing. Nothing at all. And he couldn't help me, he couldn't help me with my car insurance. So I started spending less and less and less time over there. I would see him for short times. I would go over there just for the night, and then I would leave. There would be weeks that would go past, I wouldn't go over there. I remember I didn't see him for like the whole month. Actually, after that, I just stopped going over there. Um, he would always contact me though to come over. He would always say, "You want to come over? I'll get food. We'll order out, and we'll get some food." And that's what we used to do. And I said, "Okay." Sometimes I would just be bored, and I would just go over there because I was bored. And but it was a very sad place because it was not what it once was between us. The relationship was basically over and done. But we were still having a physical relationship at this time. We still were. Um, I started really thinking about dating other guys. I'm not gonna lie, I did. I started dating about other guys. I was always getting hit on by other guys when I went out. If I ever went out to a bar or any kind of like happy hour, I would always get talked to, always get approached by other guys. Always. You know, guys would always come over and talk to me. And I started to say, you know, as scary as it was for me to get in with somebody, you know, to start dating another guy, I started to take it seriously. Like, I think it's time for me to really start looking for someone else because this is bad. And I let it go, and I let it get too far. Like, it went too far. I should have broken up with him 2 years. Probably as soon as he met that guy, I should have just broke up with him. Because when I started to notice things going wrong, him hanging out with guys on weekends instead of me, that's when I should have broke up with him. But I didn't. I stayed because I was just afraid, I guess, to leave, and I didn't want to give up. I'd been with him for such a long time, and I didn't want to start fresh with someone new. I didn't want to do that either because I was already 41. So I just kind of stayed. Um, the summer had come, and I was kind of doing my own thing that summer. And I guess it was sometime in August. I had gone over there. Like I said, I was still seeing him on an occasional basis. Maybe not every week. Maybe every other week I would go over there. We would order in. Sometimes he would cook, and we'd have dinner together. Sometimes we would go out. Sometimes we would just like, you know, hang out and order food together and just hang out. Um, I went over there one night. No, one day. It was during the daytime. He lived about 35 minutes away from me, and I would go over there, and it was a little bit of a ride to go over there. I mean, it wasn't that long. It was like 35 minutes. So I had driven over there. It was a nice summer day. I went over there, and whenever I would see my ex, if it's been a week or a week and a half, he would literally attack me, like attack me, like almost like so happy to see me, so you know, so happy that I was there. It seemed like he really missed me. Well, that's what I thought. So I couldn't even sit down, you know, and I smoked cigarettes at this time. You know, have a cigarette and kind of have a drink and just kind of relax. He would be like literally attack me. So I would, um, you know, I would, whatever, and then I would like, you know, I would come out into the living room. I remember I came out to the living room, and I put the TV on, and I was looking to see what was on TV. And I reached over to get his lighter because I smoked cigarettes at this time. I know it was gross, but I did. I reached over to get a lighter and to smoke a cigarette. I lit my cigarette and I saw a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, it was a note to somebody. And that note said something to the effect of, "Hi, my name is so and so. I think that you're really pretty and I would like to take you out. My phone number is such and such. get in touch with me, if you want to meet up or whatever. I don't know what it said. I just remember it was something to that effect. So we left his own cell number and his name, and I thought that was odd. I'm like, what is this? And why is this on your living room table, right? So when he came out from being outside, I confronted him and I said, what is this note? What is this? And he was very nonchalant about it. He's just like, I was going to give that to someone, but I changed my mind. And I said, well, why is it here and where I could see it? And like, why didn't you put this somewhere else so I couldn't see it? Like, why did you leave it out for me to see? And he didn't even say anything about it. I'm like, where was this, in your wallet? Maybe it was in his wallet. Maybe he just, I don't know if he wrote it while he was in the house. I don't know what it was. All I know was it was a letter. It was a note to somebody. And I just was like, okay, well, it's obvious to me that what I felt all this time was real. And, he was making it very obvious and apparent to me that he was obviously looking for other women. And here I am still with him in a physical relationship type thing. And that needs to stop. So I didn't leave and go home. I spent the day there with him. I didn't feel like driving another 40 minutes to go home. So I just stayed. I didn't talk about it. I didn't bring it up. I just let things just go with I went with the flow. I just didn't talk about it. I was a little hurt that he put that in my face like that, but I just let it go because I wasn't going to start a fight with him, get all aggravated. I didn't feel like dealing with it and getting all upset, so I just let it go. Um, After I would usually go there like Friday night and leave like on Sunday, or I would leave Monday morning when I used to go to work. Um, I think I left like Sunday or Sunday afternoon that day, and I went home. And I really thought about stuff. And I said, this really needs to stop. This needs to end. And instead of just breaking up with him, I I started basically dating other guys at this point. I went on a dating site, a paid one. It was a paid dating site. I made a profile up and I met someone. The guy didn't live that far away. We met up. He was really nice. He was a nice guy. He actually, I don't know, I was so stupid. I was so dumb. Um, Nice guy. He was real tall. He was like 6'4". He was a big guy. And not bad looking. Cute in his own way. He was a cute guy. Um, I met up with him. We went on a couple dates. We went on like 3 or 4 dates. But he was looking for a serious relationship. Like he was already making like he wanted to like make plans to go on like weekend trips together. He was a hiker. He was a professional hiker. He hiked all over the place, like Canada, Vermont, like all through like major national parks and stuff like that. Um, Very nice guy, cute. He was the same age as me. We did have a lot in common. Um, he was from the same area, so we grew up in the same kind of area. I grew up down by the city, and so did he. So we had that in common as well. We had quite a bit in common. He was a really nice guy too, and I should have dated him, but I didn't. I didn't date him. We went on like 3 or 4 dates. We went to the movies. We went out to eat a couple times. I went to his house. He was putting on a new deck. He actually bought a fixer-upper house up where I live, and not in the same town, but close by. And he bought like a fixer-upper house, and he was like renovating it, and he wanted me to come over to see this new deck, and I did, and we hung out. We had a couple drinks. Um, I even told him to get DirecTV, and he did. I was such a fan of DirecTV, and I'm like, get DirecTV, and he did. He got DirecTV. Um, he had a bunch of furniture delivered, and he was asking my opinion on stuff, and it was really a nice guy, and I should have stayed with it, and I didn't. I didn't stay with it. I just I was still, not that I was still looking to be with my ex, but I was still attached to my ex, even though after all that bullshit, I was still kind of not completely done with my ex yet. And I didn't want to get in with this guy um prematurely, you know what I mean? I just wasn't emotionally ready to get in with someone new yet. I just wasn't ready. I liked him. I was definitely attracted to him. Yeah, I was attracted to him, but I just wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready. And I also had some other things going on at this time because it was probably September, October of 2015. So I just wasn't in the frame of mind to get into a relationship. And I kind of told him that I just wasn't ready. I had to kind of tell him that. It was kind of hard to tell him because I did like him too. It was a rough, and I shouldn't have. I should have stayed with this guy and just told him, let's just take it slow. But I didn't. Anyway, I only saw my ex narcissist one more time after that, and that was in November. This is basically this is how we broke up. I'm going to tell the story.